Good afternoon and welcome to KTN Weekend at 1. My name is Wilson Mburu. We start off with some grim news coming off Mandera. And the tragic news is that now the Inspector General of Police, David Kimayo, has confirmed that 28 passengers were this morning brutally murdered in Mandera near a place called Arabia. They were among 60 passengers traveling in a Nairobi-bound bus. A joint security operation mounted to arrest the attackers, who are believed to have escaped towards the Somalia border.
At 5:45 this morning, tens of unidentified gunmen intercepted a bus carrying passengers, most of whom were heading home for their annual leave. Moments later, they were executed some meters from the main road where the bus was hijacked. The bus had covered only 8 kilometers of the journey from Mandera to Nairobi. Among those killed were 2 security officers and teachers who were traveling to their hometowns on holiday. 4 among the dead were women. Mandera Police County Commander Noah Muivanda said the militia commandeered the bus from the main road, forced the passengers to alight before sorting them into 2 groups based on the faith they profess. After sorting them, they ordered all the other commuters to go away as they returned the non-Muslim into the bus and attempted to escape with them. The bus shortly got stuck in the muddy and swampy road. They then decided to execute the victims. It is not yet clear who the attackers were. Mandera town shares a border with Somalia, where the Kenya Defence Forces have been fighting the Al-Shabaab terror group since 2010. The Kenya Defence Forces intrusion into Somalia was triggered by the terror group kidnapping tourists from the coastal region of Lamu that threatened tourism, a backbone of Kenya's economy. Mohammed Mahmoud, KTN.
Right now, I'm joined on the phone by the General Secretary, the Kenya Red Cross Society, Mr. Abbas Gulet. Bwana Gulet, if you can hear me, good afternoon to you, and please tell us an update from where you are. What is the current situation on the ground?
Well, the current situation, and as you said in your report, is that wee hours of this morning, this passenger bus coming from Mandera to Nairobi was attacked outside Arabia in a small village called Lebi. And the bus got stuck because of the rain, and the passengers came out to try to push it out. And as they were trying to push it out, there was these terrorists from Al-Shabaab who are said to have then come to the area and decided to shoot 28 passengers that were killed on the spot. What has happened since then this morning is that the Kenya Red Cross Society volunteers and staff and the Kenya Defence Forces and police have been able to go to the area, retrieve the dead bodies, who are now in Mandera, are waiting to be airlifted by the Kenya police or army planes back to Nairobi for them to be identified by their loved ones.
Now, Mr. Gulet, you have said that 28 people were killed. Do we have, was it an execution, or are there any injuries that we have seen? Do we have any people who have been injured, maybe people who have been unaccounted for?
No, I don't think there are any injuries. This was an execution style. Unfortunately, as sad as it may sound, people were asked for their identities and they were separated from the rest of the passengers, and they were shot at point blank from what we're being told, because a lot of them were shot in the head from what we understand.
Where are these bodies now?
The bodies are already back in Mandera. I think then there is now the discussion there is a plane being sent by the government. So I think the bodies are just being prepared in the Mandera District Hospital by the orderlies and blankets and protecting the bodies before they are lifted to Nairobi.
In terms of security, you have been on the ground for a while now. Could you update us on maybe any police operations going on? What do you see? What is the current security situation on the ground now?
Well, I guess, Wilson, as you'll understand, first of all, was to deal with the current bad situation this morning.
Yes.
And I'm sure the security forces themselves have their own way of working. I'm not a security personnel or agent. I think there was a humanitarian imperative. This was the first thing that was being acted on. And I'm sure the security forces would go into full swing, I'm sure, to look for the perpetrators, although it's being reported that they might have already crossed the border into Somalia. So I think the only thing that may happen is how do we make our border safer? How do we engage communities to be able to be the eyes and the ears of our security forces, and how they can be close to security forces and report suspicious persons or personalities, so that these things can be avoided and they can be preemptive before they happen, like what happened this morning.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Gulet. That is Abbas Gulet, the General Secretary of the Kenya Red Cross Society. And let's just recap on what we know so far. 28 people have been killed in a bus attack. Mr. Gulet has told us that the bus got stuck in the mud, and as some of the passengers got out to push the vehicle, they were attacked by unknown gunmen, but the style of execution looks like and appears to be that used by the Al-Shabaab. This is the same kind of execution style that was seen in Peketoni a few months ago. And we also know that the situation on the ground right now in terms of security is that security personnel have already hit the ground, and they are looking for these people who performed this heinous act. Now, we did speak to a man who says he was in the ill-fated bus and was among those who survived. And the following is a conversation between our reporter and the witness, Mr. John Ndaka Matheka.
Walikuja wakasimamisha hiyo basi, sio?
Sasa yeye walikuja wakasimamisha hiyo basi, inasemekana hivyo. Sasa inasemekana huko kuna jinsi waliposimamisha hiyo gari. Wao watu walikuwa wametegea barabarani, alipo walikuwa wameshika ni bazuka, walikuwa wametegea ikataa kusimama, walikuwa yote. Sasa gari ilikuwa na namna nyingine wakasimamisha.
Walikuwa wameshikiwa hiyo ni bazuka.
Ndio kama inaweza kataa kusimama, sasa walikuwa yote ilipuka.
Alafu ni area gani hiyo?
Ilikuwa ni kati ya Mandera na mahali panaitwa Arabia, hapo katikati kuna town inaitwa Jilo.
Ati RG?
Arabia. Hii ni between Arabia na Elwa, kuna town inaitwa Arabia. Sasa hapo katikati ya Arabia na Mandera kuna town nyingine inaitwa Jilo.
Jilo.
Sasa ilikuwa hapo walichukua gari alafu wakaidivert pia.
Walidivert kwa kichaka?
Wakaidivert kwa kichaka ni in fact.
Na ilikuwa saa ngapi?
Ilikuwa kama saa 8 usiku. Hiyo gari sije ilikuwa inatokanga mbele ya zile magari zingine.
Inatokanga peke yake?
Inatokanga peke yake, alafu zile zingine zinakuwa zimefuatana. Sasa walikai magari ndio yanatokanga mbele, wakaitega tu alafu wakaitoka barabara hizo zingine zikapita.
Ni gari gani hiyo?
Inaitwa Makaba.
Ati Makaba?
Maka Travelers, yeah.
Maka Travelers. Alafu unaniambia unaitwa John?
Naitwa John Ndaka Maleka.
Sawa. Kuna lingi gani ya Mombasa?
Poa.
Alafu wanasema inahusiana aje na Mombasa?
Sasa ile wanasema kitu kwanza inasema ni kama kisasi inatokana na mambo yenye yalitokea Mombasa. Kwa hawafurahishi na yenye yalitokea Mombasa, kwamba ati msikiti ulikuwa umepatikana majila kama firearms. Alafu venye msikiti ulifanywa, sasa wakawa wana uchungu sana ndani moyoni.
Kwa hivyo wao wanalipisha kisasi ya msikiti.
Sasa wanalipisha kisasi, alafu pia wenyewe.
Well, that was a conversation one of our reporters had with a man who says he was in the ill-fated bus. His name is Mr. John Ndaka Matheka. Let's first of all recap on what we know so far. The attack happened at around 5:45 this morning. 28 people have been killed. The execution style is similar to that carried out by the Al-Shabaab. These men separated the Christians and the Muslims, let the Muslims go, and then shot the 28 Christians dead, or the other non-Muslims, let's call them non-Muslims. They shot them dead, 28 of them. The bodies are now in Mandera. Some of them will be flown to Nairobi. The bus was headed from Mandera to Nairobi, got stuck in the mud. As the passengers got out of the bus to push the vehicle out of the mud, they were attacked by these gunmen in a place called Arabia in Mandera. Right now, we are joined live from our city center studios by one Patrick Amimo. Patrick spoke to the Inspector General of Police, Mr. David Kimayo. Patrick, what is Mr. Kimayo saying? What do we know so far?
Thank you, Mburu. The Inspector General of Police has just addressed a press briefing on the massacre that has happened in Mandera this morning. He confirms that 28 passengers were killed, by suspected bandits. Out of this number, 19 are men and 9 women. He says that a combined team of security officers has been sent to the area to track down the attackers, who are believed to have escaped towards the Kenya-Somalia border, because the place of the attack, Arabia, is about 5 kilometers towards the Somali border, where these bandits escaped. This group was heavily armed, and the officers on the ground are pursuing these bandits to ensure that they either arrest them and ensure that justice is done to those who are killed. The police boss has also ordered that all public service vehicles traveling to Mandera should be under police escort. So far, he says more details on this matter will be given in an hours or 2 hours time by the Minister for the Cabinet Secretary for Interior, Joseph Ole Lenku, because they're still getting details from the ground. And so far, he could not say which group was responsible for the killings, but he just says that they are bandits. Whether they are Al-Shabaab or not, it's yet to be confirmed. Maybe by the time the Interior Cabinet Secretary will be giving us details in an hour or 2, they'll be in a position to say whether this attack was linked to the Al-Shabaab militia that is also prone to operating in that particular area. But also remember that the Kenya-Somali border in Mandera is full of militia, some crossing from Ethiopia, Kenya and Somalia. So that area is volatile, but or the real identity of these people, maybe we'll get it in an hour's time from Minister Ole Lenku. But the police boss has assured that security officers on the ground will pursue the bandits to ensure that they are brought to book. Mburu?
Well, thank you very much, Patrick. That is Patrick Amemo, who's giving us an update on the situation or what the Inspector General of Police, Mr. David Kimayo, said earlier today. Now, let's just recap the information that we have so far. The attack happened in Mandera, 5 kilometers from the Somalia border, and 28 people were shot dead, Al-Shabaab style. However, the government says no group has taken responsibility yet for this action, and no group and they cannot yet say who exactly is responsible for this. But the attack that happened, the execution style, Muslims were separated and they were let go. The non-Muslims were then shot dead. 19 men and 9 women were killed in this particular attack. This is the same kind of thing that we saw in Peketoni some few months ago. And Mr. Kimayo here is saying that attackers are suspected to have escaped into Somalia. And he has also said that all public service vehicles traveling to that part of the country should and will have police escort. We'll, of course, have much more on this story as the bulletin continues. Right now, we take a very short break, but we'll be back with more. Don't you go away.